We're rolling.
Okay, so just for context, what is a blue trip like?
Drenched.
Oh.
None of us will ever forget that. I can say that for sure.
My name is Danny, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Blue Missions. Blue Missions was founded in 2010 by my sister and I, and it all stemmed from when I was in high school. When I was 16 years old, my dad invited me to participate on a mission trip with a group called LIFO Missions. I did not want to go on this trip. I was more interested in playing sports and going out with my friends and figuring out what I was going to do in college.
I kind of forced Danny to go with me. One of the things we wanted to do was to make sure that our children learned a little bit about how other people lived around the world.
You know, the first few days where I was pretty miserable, you know, living without air conditioning, having to wake up and do manual labor all day. You know, my mindset completely changed, and I was just mind blown that there was people, you know, and at the time it was nearly 1 billion people in the world that didn't have access to clean water, and they were walking every single day to go collect the water that they need to survive. You know, I just knew I wanted to keep going back, and I wanted to bring my friends and family to experience what had impacted me in such a positive way. I just wanted to share that with the world. The founder of LIFO approached my sister and I and said, hey, we don't have enough spots to keep taking you guys, and you guys have done such a good job at recruiting your friends and family to come with us. Why don't you guys start a group? And it was something that was already in our minds, and he kind of gave us that final push that we needed to say, hey, we can do this.
It's recording?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, my name is Danny Rodriguez, and I'm the founder and president of Blue Missions.
So when I was 16, I went to the Dominican Republic to build a water project for the community of Palma Herrera.
Well, I wasn't really invited. I kind of invited myself.
I went with my dad that summer. I was 15 years old.
There was laughing all day, every day, but when it came down to working, we were very serious about it.
When I think back to that first trip, I think about all the fun that we had. You know, walking 30 minutes to go shower in the river and spending an hour there, just enjoying playing sports with the community, celebrating Kids Day, Benito taking out his drums and starting to play music, and it turns out into a dance party.
And I knew that I wanted to keep doing that every single summer. The only difference between LIFO Missions and Blue Missions, I would say, is that there are a lot less adults on our trips.
I remember seeing Danny and his group of friends doing this other trip called Blue Missions by themselves without adults, and I was like, oh, this is so cool, I want to do that trip.
One of the biggest challenges early on was our age, you know, and the interpretation of young people.
And then I remember coming home and being like, Mom, I need to do Blue Missions next summer. And she was like, no, you're not doing that. Those are a bunch of kids.
Being a college student, being in your early 20s, and having that responsibility.
I felt like there was a lot of weight on my shoulders. Just, I had these girls in high school looking up to me, and I wasn't that much older than them.
You know, sometimes it's a little bit harder to convince people to get behind what you're doing, but once they started to see the impact, once, you know, we had the proof and the example of the impact that we were making, it became a lot easier. The goal was really to just provide clean water to one community every year. But, you know, there was different plans in the cards that we were dealt. You know, we were able to make an impact, and there was a lot of interest, and we saw an opportunity to do more good. You know, a light bulb went off and said, this is it. You know, this is how we can really make an impact. In my mind, Blue wasn't just going to be a passion project and going to be one project per year. I knew it was going to be something much bigger and something that would reshape service in our home community of South Florida and help more and more communities gain access to clean water and, you know, the impacts of that. In 2015, I was able to get Blue to the point where we needed people to run our day-to-day operations here in the US. So I approached two of my best friends.
And Danny just kind of calls me and says, hey,
would you guys be interested in leaving the careers that you guys have been building to help build Blue Missions into something that can make more of an impact?
I came back and told Danny that I was on board, that I would love to be employed by Blue Missions and see where we can grow it.
I quit my job, I take this leap, and I start working with Nikki, and the two of us are tasked with the operation of growing Blue Mission. We were working out of Danny's spare bedroom.
We would spend all day and night together, you know, just building out our vision for the organization. And
After my first trip, I remember Danny asked me to come back with him and to take pictures. I don't know why he asked me that, because I didn't have a camera. So I had a GoPro strapped to a broomstick. I loved coming into the office and just being a part of this little team that was building something.
So we were a very, very small operation, but we were pretending to be big, that's for sure.
There's an unlimited supply.
But being young, being naive, you know, having no fear of failure, that really, I think, was the difference in allowing us to hit the ground running. We went from 9 projects in 2015 to 21 projects in 2016, and the growth just kept coming. You know, we had way more requests for water projects than we can fund. We had way more volunteers interested in traveling with us than we can coordinate.
Blue kind of just escalated from there. We were having meetings with high schools and universities across the country.
Good evening, UCF. Just had a great meeting on the way to Gainesville.
I remember when we launched trips in 2017.
Blue applications open up today.
Blue apps just opened up.
Applications open today!
We had over 400 volunteers sign up within 2 hours of launching our applications.
All right, Brody, this is what
Lures is sold out 3 trips in 3 minutes.
We knew we were doing the right thing and that we were onto something that would change people's lives.
Ever since I started with Blue, we went from Danny's apartment, a spare bedroom, to a warehouse that we couldn't bring people either. And then we made this jump to this space that we were able to find, this place here, which is awesome, where we could actually bring people, have meetings, build community. I remember the day that we cut the ribbon. That was one of the happiest, proudest days of my life, because I felt like we made it.
We are not a traditional nonprofit organization. You know, we run Blue Missions like a business. We wanted to develop a model that would give donors confidence in the work that we were doing. We wanted to be transparent, and we opened up 2 bank accounts, one for operations and one for projects. 100% of every dollar donated to Blue Missions goes into the projects account to fund the field. The field includes everything it takes to construct our projects, from construction materials to workers and engineers. To support our operational expenses, like salaries and rent, we rely on the fees paid by our volunteers that travel with us to serve. And our plans were to take what we've built here in South Florida and expand throughout the entire United States. So we put out a job posting for a national growth manager. I asked my dad to help me with the interview process. We offered the job to one person who declined the offer. It wasn't the right fit for them, and we weren't able to make a hire. And I just laid in bed and I thought, maybe there's a way for my dad to fill this position.
And he looked me in the eye and he said, "Dad, you should take this position."
And from a qualification standpoint, I knew he was the perfect candidate for this job.
There was always that dream of, as you get closer to retirement, I'd like to do something that I am 100% purposeful. I have to go to sleep thinking about how I can bring clean water or sanitation to people that need it, or that I can go to sleep and think about how many more young kids we can invite to these trips that will hopefully change their lives. So I'm happy. I'm very happy.
In February of 2020, we were preparing for our biggest summer yet. We had 45 projects scheduled to take place,
with close to 1,000 volunteers joining us. And that was something that was really, really exciting for us.
And then we start hearing about COVID-19.
We went from being a little bit concerned about this thing called coronavirus to packing up our desks and, you know, not knowing when we were going to see each other again in person. And everything just really changed.
By the end of March, we knew that our projects were in jeopardy for the entire year.
So we had to cancel all of our trips. That means we had to refund all of our volunteers, and that is a lot of operational dollars that are not in our bank account anymore.
And we began to plan on how we can survive as an organization.
I wasn't willing to accept the cancellation. I didn't want to accept the reality that this virus was impacting us specifically.
You know, because of our model, we rely on our service trips to fund the operations.
Those projects are still there. The water needs have not stopped.
When you don't have clean water, you have to go fetch that water, you have to go collect it, and the women and the children bear that responsibility. So it's this vicious cycle of water poverty that doesn't allow a family or a community to reach their full potential, to find their purpose.
Even though there was, you know, talks at home about what the heck are you gonna do if we have to close Blue or if I have to find another job. Those conversations were had, but I have to say that, you know, the team at Blue Missions is very resilient.
There was no time to be sad. There was only time to figure it out.
That moment of, is it time to panic, turns into, what else can we do?
In the middle of a dark time for most of the world, something really amazing happened.
Blue needs your help.
Blue needs your help.
Your help.
We're asking you to donate and help us fund the field.
People that believed in Blue spread our message and did anything to raise money for us.
I hate posting selfie videos or asking people for stuff, but I love Blue Missions more than I hate doing those things, so here goes.
To please help with any donations.
I'm helping Blue by donating my $5 sparkly dollars from the t-shirt.
We had people dancing, singing opera on social media, just for donations. And the money raised supported our field team during a summer that really could have been devastating. Ultimately, we got through this the same way we've gotten this far.
We had to improvise on the spot. We're building our own ladder. We're building our own latrine.
We believed that nothing was going to stop us from making an impact.
And today, after impacting more than 30,000 people, we believe more than ever that the world we dream of is in our reach.
A world where no one gets sick
or misses a day of school
or misses out on opportunities because of water.
We have the team.
We have the plans, and we invite you to believe too.
To believe too.
We are building a community of do-gooders,
optimists, activists,
who not only believe in,
but act on their power to change the world.
They are the members of The Source.
Every month, members give at whatever amount they choose to help keep our projects running.
100% goes directly to connecting people with clean water and sanitation.
In the age of subscriptions, why not subscribe to something that gives, something that impacts families and communities? You become the source of health,
opportunity,
love.
You become a part of the long-term sustainability of Blue Missions.
We'll show you exactly where your donations made an impact month after month.
Source is made up of a lot of tiny drops that together
form a flood of change.
Blue, after all, is not a color.
Not a color.
It's an action. Building love.
Uniting everyone.
Subscribe to something you believe in.